Please welcome again our sponsors for tonight's panel. I already said the names, but give a big hand, first of all, to Amir Adnani. He's a prominent entrepreneur and mining executive, best known as the founder and president and CEO of Uranium Energy Corporation. He has also played a significant leadership role at Uranium Royalty Corp, the one and only uranium royalty company in the world. UEC operates a vertically integrated business model focused on uranium exploration, mining, processing, and production primarily through cost-effective in-situ recovery technology, while Uranium Royalty Corp operates as a royalty and, of course, streaming company, providing investors with exposure to uranium through royalty interests on uranium projects without direct involvement in mining operations. Amir, come on the stage. Big applause for Amir, please. You want to sit next to me? Have this one. Thank you. Thank you. Then next one is Glenn Chesham, is a founding shareholder of Silver Tiger Metals with over 25 years of experience in resource sector capital markets, who has successfully overseen the listing of Silver Tiger on a TSX Venture, led the company through significant growth phases, including raising over $140 million to develop their high-grade El Tigre silver project in Mexico, where they just got a permit, achieving strong economic milestones such as a 222 million NPV and plans for open pit mining and underground expansion, while maintaining a long-term vision for district-scale silver mining in the region. Please welcome Glenn Chesham. Glenn, come up here. You want to have the middle here? Is that fine? Super. Then also, please welcome Mr. Luis Santana, the CEO of GoldQuest. He has over 25 years also of global mining and mineral processing experience and has been successfully advancing the company through key milestones, such as securing environmental permits, initiating the environmental and social impact assessment, conducting extensive community consultations, and progressing towards a bankable feasibility study for a low-impact underground mine aimed at producing copper, gold, concentrates, positioning the project as a potential significant economic driver in the entire region. Please welcome Luis Santana. Where are you, Luis? There he is. Please have a seat next to Glenn. And of course, after the panel discussion, we will have, as you know, a Q&A for sure. But then afterwards, you will have time to talk to the companies. And then we will have my good friend Ronny Stöferle, the managing partner of Incrementum AG and in Gold We Trust co-editor, telling us his insights into the gold market. And I'm curious on his price target. So let's get started, gentlemen. I have to do it like this. So we want to start with a question to all of you, and maybe I want to start with Luis. Many commodities had a great run this year, and in the meantime, company valuations have started to catch up. Are we already reaching a peak, or are we just warming up for the long run? That's maybe a question for an analyst.
Yeah, for me, well, so in my personal opinion, I think that we are just getting started. There is been a long history, a big detachment between the valuation of the prices of the commodities and the valuation of the companies. And the market is just realizing that and is catching up to that. I think that, in my opinion, that is just beginning of the story, and that the evaluation of our companies and the mining sector as a whole is just getting started.
Perfect. Glenn? Same opinion, I guess?
I see my friend Florian Grummy's over here, and he has some very high numbers on silver and gold. I'm not going to talk about that. We've been in Mexico, a group that I joined 17, 18 years ago in Halifax. We've been in Mexico only serially building silver mines. The first one the group's built were single-digit silver and $250 gold. So I'm going to tell you today, the prices for producers or developers becoming producers are more than we ever thought we would see. It is an incredible environment for those that make metal to live in. I sat with my partner at Denver Gold Show not that long ago, a couple of years, and he's in Mexico 30 years, building all those mines. And we looked at each other, and gold was $1,850, and he said, man, imagine if it ever got to 2,000. And we both said, not a chance. So we're not the people to ask about the price. $2,000, our projects make a lot of money. At these prices, we just print money. It's unbelievable, actually.
That's it. Amir, maybe you want to say something also about uranium.
I'd love to. I just want to initially actually acknowledge and thank Andrew Michaels, Patrick Michaels for organizing this along with yourself. You guys have been incredible leaders and stewards of bringing us all resource investors together, and particularly Mr. Andrew Michaels, who's a legend. And I'm just very appreciative for having met you 20 years ago when I was starting Uranium Energy, and you as well, Jochen, of course. But I'm very frustrated and disappointed in uranium this year. I think it's underperformed. I think if you said to me that we would have all these tailwinds for nuclear energy, which I won't get into just to keep it short here, that I would have guessed uranium prices would already be at all-time highs, just like gold and silver have got to all-time highs. Copper's looking very good. And so I would argue uranium has underperformed and maybe disappointed some of us. It should be higher. Its all-time highs is about $150 a pound. It's currently at $80 a pound. If we adjust the all-time high for inflation, it should be $200 per pound or more. So, you know, so perhaps the best is yet to come.
Yeah, definitely.
Well
That's
said.
how I see it also. Super. Then I have a question for Louis, please, specifically on GoldQuest. GoldQuest had an impressive turnaround over the past 12 months. Can you summarize for the audience what changed in the Dominican Republic? Maybe a
Yeah.
short.
In the past 3 years, because this didn't happen. I mean, nothing happens. I mean, from one day to the next. It's part of the process. So since 3 years ago, when we started in the role, we have a very clear strategy and a clear path forward on how to develop this project. The number one goes through the community engagement, and trying to find common ground with the people on the ground, work with them, try to explain the vision, the goals that we want to develop in their communities, and be able to find opportunities in which we can collaborate with them. And we've been very successful in doing that, in engagement, collaboration, working with them, and be able to clear the path, I mean, for the next steps to go. The second strategy was to try to bring not only a Dominican CEO to the company, but also Dominican investors into our company as part of that higher goal that we were pursuing. And we were very successful to do that last year when we first did our first private placement. We brought along important investors that are with me today, and they came again earlier this year. So with that Dominican investment into the company, now it's not a foreigner going to your country to take advantage of the natural resources you have. It's a collaboration between the Dominican capital, the Dominican people, and the international investment community as well. So, and the third, obviously, and very important as well, is be able to engage with the government and be able to show the government the huge opportunity that is lying in front of them by allowing the exploitation, the use of the natural resources that we currently have as a way for us to be able to use those resources for the betterment of the communities and the people in the ground. And obviously gold prices are been helping us to be able to tell the story. So it's being part of the process and it's being bearing fruits.
Super. Then also a question for Glenn, please, from Silver Tiger. The Mexican economy has faced some neighborhood-related challenges. I think it's your neighbor in the north, probably, whilst defending its long-standing position as the world's leading silver producer. Did you experience any favorable developments that support or even accelerate upcoming mines like yours to go into production?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that, you know, our group that I'm part of out of Halifax, we've only been in Mexico for 30 years. We've been nowhere else. It is an amazing country to work in. It is an amazing country to build mines in. Our group has had immense success, some of it much before I even joined 17 years ago. The group has built 3 very large silver mines there. We've developed 2 that were sold to majors, and we're getting ready to build LT Ray. We're a Mexican company. We trade on the TSXV. I'm on the National Advisory Committee for that. I'm a securities lawyer by training. I'm on the National Advisory Committee for the Venture Exchange. We have 3 Canadian employees. We have 40 Mexican employees today. So we're a Mexican company. We raise the money in Canada. The capital arm is there. And soon when we start building, and we started today actually, we basically will have 250. The vast majority, almost all will be Mexican. We're a Mexican company. We've always treated the business like that. And it's been a wonderful experience. We've always got what we want. Sustainability, environmental sustainability is in particular, and work to bring value, to bring prosperity to the communities, in our case in Sonora, that surround us. What the developments have been, it's a long time to get ready to build a mine. $150 million later, a feasibility study done on a bulk tonnage deposit, and underground ready to have a PEA next year. And yes, there's been developments. We received on Friday all of our approvals from the Mexican government to proceed and build our bulk tonnage deposit at El Tigre, and we're very excited about that. We started today.
Fantastic. That's a real game changer. Amir, there have been many positive headlines reaching us from the US regarding the nuclear industry, and just fresh off the press, as I mentioned in my presentation already, uranium is on the designated list for critical minerals of the US government, which we have really waited for and expected also. Can you give us a short summary of the recent developments and how this benefits your companies?
I'd say for the last 20 years that I've been in the nuclear energy business, when we were asked about the growth in nuclear energy, the growth was always a China story. It was about China's building reactors and how many they're building and how many India's building and how many Russia's building. And for the first time, the US has become a growth market for nuclear energy. And this is really due to the fact that we now have finally growth in demand for baseload energy in the US. This is where data centers really need electrons, and in order to get their electrons, we need to get them from sources like nuclear that are baseload. And so when you start to see the US now finally turn towards putting real investments into building large new reactors, like the announcement just 2 weeks ago that the government is putting $80 billion into Westinghouse. Westinghouse, a 100-plus-year-old company from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, now has $80 billion to go build large reactors. My gosh, that's a real turnaround. That's interesting, right? And so now we can say that, okay, this is really about, and this might sound negative and dark, and I don't mean it that way, but I really believe we're in a wartime economy right now.
Yeah.
And the wartime economy is really driven by the AI war. And it's a question of who can master this faster. And that's why supply chains from silver and gold and copper and all these things have become so mission critical, because we're in a wartime economy. And whoever can get to that point of having more data centers and more chips supporting more AI is going to win this race. But hold on. Do chips and data centers work on their own? No. I mean, Sam Altman said it really best just recently. It's chips and energy. We need energy to energize those chips, and we need a lot of it. Remember, baseload growth was going at a rate of 2% annually in the US. Now it's going at a rate of 10% annually. That's what's changed. And what's changed is that we finally have a proper bull market in energy. And then in that context, we need a lot of natural gas. We'll need a lot of nuclear. Well, frankly, need a lot of everything we can get when it comes to energy. And that, to me, is probably the most meaningful development. We can get into supply, demand, and all of that. And yeah, we don't mine enough uranium to meet demand, but demand's actually turbocharged. And the other thing I'll say, because this to me is like really the seminal moment. Last September, Microsoft, probably one of the most forward-thinking companies on the planet, putting $1.6 billion into 3 Mile Island to restart that nuclear reactor. Now remember, 3 Mile Island, where the only nuclear accident in the US history has ever happened. Microsoft putting its money, name, and reputation on that. If that doesn't signal and symbolize the rebirth of nuclear energy in the US, I don't know what does. Right?
What else do you need?
Yeah, so we can get into a lot of details about supply, demand, and pricing and all of that. But to me, these bigger picture trends are what we should take note of to really think about where uranium and nuclear energy is right now.
Okay, super. I think also with the SMRs, that would be for you guys building mines, maybe something in the future to consider. Why not? Yeah, makes sense. Luis, question: what are the catalysts we can expect over the next few quarters from your company?
Yeah, so the clear catalyst ahead of our company going forward is we need to develop the actions of for the development of our Romero project, which is our flagship project. We are currently doing the environmental impact assessment. We are going to be announcing once we completed the baseline studies and once we do the public hearings that are part of the process, and once we are able to deliver a final report to the government. That's going to be one. The other one is that in parallel, we're working in updating our feasibility study, a bankable feasibility study for the project. As part of that process, there are going to be important technical aspects of the project that is going to be published. The resource model, for example, the latest one that we have is from 2016 at a gold price of $1,300 and copper at $250. So just by adjusting prices, I mean, we see a growth on our reserves and resources base. And the other, something very important that our company has to offer is that we are not only a developer of a gold mine in the Dominican Republic with high-grade copper, high-grade gold, and silver, but we also have a very prospective land in which we control 50 kilometers of highly mineralized rate. In that area, we have 3 discoveries, and we're only focusing in one of them. So we are going to be focusing on exploring the rest of the belt. We are going to be focusing our resources in the Cachimbo region, which is a highly prospective area. That was the one that actually caught the attention of Agnico Eagle when they invested in our company, and that we haven't worked since 2018. So going forward, we are going to go back there, start drilling and producing what we expect to be amazing results so that we can update the market with potentially new discoveries to come. So those are clear paths, I mean, on the development of Romero, and also continue to explore the endowment that we have in front of us.
Yeah. Glenn, I can imagine you want to build a mine.
We're going to build a mine. That would have been several days ago, say we're planning. There are 3 stages to our project. We have a very large land package, probably about 25 kilometers of the prolific Sierra Madre gold silver belt. But a small company like ours, approaching $500 million market cap, you have to focus and you have to say, there'll be drilling ounces off at El Tigre for 30 years. I'll probably be dead and they'll still be, it's a big district, but you can't start with a district. You have to start with the first couple of kilometers. And that's where, since we've got the project in 17, we have drilled a couple 100,000 meters. We've raised probably about 150 million Canadian, not US. It's all been bought deal financings from the smartest long-only precious metal institutions in the world. So a bought deal, straight up common shares. They funded us to get to here. The bulk tonnage part of the project is first. We got all the approvals to basically, and feasibility work is done to build that. We have the team led by Francisco Ablaze, one of the best open and bulk tonnage mining engineers on the planet. He's built so many in Mexico, ready to go. Economics, I think, are important on that. We'll spend $86 million, and at these crazy prices today, this project for the first 10 years generates an NPV of 700 million US. It makes over 100 million USD per year on an $86 million capex with an 18-month build time. So yeah, we're excited to have that done. Second part is in January. We don't sit down. There will be an large underground mine here, high-grade silver vein. The PEA for that will be delivered in January, and then we'll just transition once the bulk tonnage oxide is built and producing revenue to build the underground mine. And remember, a couple 100 million silver equivalent ounces we've delivered since 2017. We should be in production in less than 10 years. The average mine from drill hole to production is 17. We're happy about that. We've got 25 kilometers, and we'll start drilling north and south here early next year, and just continue to add ounces to this, prolific district. So we're very excited. But right now, our focus is we're so excited to be able to break ground and build this mine.
Okay, fantastic. Amir, also from your side, the next quarters probably very intensive and really a lot going on. Maybe you can comment also on your production developments.
I'm excited about what these 2 are doing. This
Maybe buy the shares.
This is good.
Thank you.
Look, when you think about sort of where UEC is today, you have to really reflect on the journey that we've been on for the last 20 years. And many of you have been part of that journey. I mean, I see so many familiar faces, shareholders, long-term supporters in the room. But if I may remind you that 20 years ago, uranium energy was an idea on the back of a napkin. And today we're a $6 billion company. We're the largest company in the US for uranium mining, but that's put us in a position to now be able to also announce plans to build a new uranium refining and conversion plant. Now, the last time a uranium refining and conversion plant was built in the US was the 1950s. This is where the business gets interesting, because this is the exclusive club, uranium refining. It's all state-owned. No one can get in. But we finally have gotten to a size, and uranium has become of enough strategic importance to the US that we can get into that exclusive club. And so what I'm really excited about is the fact that for the last year, we've been mining very successfully in Wyoming, delivering some of the lowest production costs for uranium mining in the US. Next month, we're starting our second uranium mine in Texas. That'll come online. That'll be America's next uranium mine. Hey, whether you like them or not, I'd love to put an invitation and have Donald Trump come and do a ribbon cutting or something like that. Be a lot of fun. It's a good Made in America story. But above and beyond that, we're going to keep building mines because we have an environment that allows us to really build successfully. You know, the best thing that happened to me and the best thing that happened to uranium mining is ChatGPT. How many people in this room use ChatGPT? Don't be shy. Put your hand up. Come on. Oh my God. All right. Did you know one of your ChatGPT searches consumes 1,000 times more energy than a Google search? That's it. I mean, that's why Sam Altman is now doing an SMR, why Bill Gates is doing an SMR. SMR is the small modular reactors. And so back to the plans are that there's a runway. You know, I tell people in uranium for the last 20 years, we had cumulative 2 good years and cumulative 18 bad years. Andrew Michaels would tell you that's not right. The commodities are supposed to be more cyclical than 18 bad and 2 good. So we've got a bit more runway here that we can build and grow and develop and really be able to deliver those results through production and now refining and conversion.
Absolutely. Luis, you control, or GoldQuest controls, a 52-kilometer belt. That's quite a lot.
Yeah.
This sounds like a whole district, of course. What is your approach to unlock value from this large land package?
Well, it's
Drill, baby, drill, or what do you do?
yeah, sort of that, sort of that. But it's what my colleague just said. I mean, we are working two goals in parallel. Number one is to develop a feasible environmental study for our mine, get it permitted, and get it off the ground and built. And in parallel, we are going to be focusing in the highly prospective ground that we have, which is Cachimbo. Currently, we are well funded. We have good cash in hand. We are planning to drill 5,000 meters during the Q4 of this year and 2026. And the idea is to be able to grow the current resources that we have in Romero that is open at along strike at depth. And we're going to go and chase that mineralization. But also in the Cachimbo district, we have, in that sector, we have a 7-kilometer district with at least 9 different targets that are highly prospective. So the idea is focus on delivering Romero in time and on budget, but also in parallel to continue to explore the area and find the next mine that is going to come along. Yep. So what we've been able to show our investors, international and local as well, and the government as well, is that we have the possibility, we have the opportunity to have a large mineral district in that area. All we need now is to continue to have good working relationship with the community and with the government and be able to continue to execute the plan that we started 3 years ago. And we are very confident that we're going to be successful in doing that.
Okay, super. Then you have an ongoing underground drill program. In parallel to that, you are targeting, of course, silver production by mid next year already. So to my understanding, there are not, of course, as I said, not many new silver mines coming online these days. Can you share some more insights on these points, please?
You know, let's be careful there. Mid 2027. If I get this built in 6 months, I mean, that's a miracle. So got to be careful. But 18 months has passed.
I'm too excited. So.
I know. Thank you. Listen, we're in the mining business. And what are we doing every day? We're mining ourselves out of business. That's just what we do. And this is I'm not going to talk about pricing because the price is just so good for us right now. We're going to make so much money by developing these mines into production. But there was a number that I read that just has resonated with me. And I think it was the Silver Institute. I'm pretty sure. Remember that. And this year, there are 52 silver mines in the world. That's it. Next year, because we're mining ourselves out of business, that's down to 46. By 2027, it's going to be 38.
Whoa.
I'm going to be happy to be 39. So that's going to be a because that's really what I see. We're in a world where, look, last Thursday, the Department of the Interior added a critical mineral in silver. Where are you going to find a metal that's precious, industrial, and now critical? I don't think there's any more. The future for silver, for us as silver miners, we have never been as excited to basically be making the metal. I mean, some of the stuff you talk about, I didn't even know about. There's so many uses. We don't make enough now, and they're going to ramp up demand. So it's going to be a good time to make the metal. We really, really do think that. Just with respect to what you talked about, we're very focused. We're going to build that oxide deposit in record time. It's going to make a lot of money. I talked about that. Over 100 million USD per year after tax cash flow. We're going to build that underground mine with the PA will come out on also as soon as we get that. We're permitted already for the underground. We've had that permit for quite some time. Become a substantial silver producer. The drilling that we're really going to focus on, there'll be infill drilling in the underground, but the exploration I think we're going to do on the 10 kilometers north and the 10 kilometers south, where we've just drilled 2 kilometers. We think we can repeat those same results over the next, not a year, 5, 10, 15, 20 years. We judge everything in decades in the mining industry, not in year and drill holes. So yeah, we have a wonderful plan to build this district out, and the best part is we're going to start building, and that's so exciting for us. The team has done a wonderful job to get us to here. They can't wait to get at it.
Yeah, absolutely. And silver has a big future, not only for the next year, that's longer. Amir, UEC is the largest US-based uranium producer with a vertically integrated business model, now spanning mining, refining, and plant conversion, which I really love, of uranium for the domestic nuclear fuel market. Sounds really unique. Maybe you want to comment a bit on that.
Again, I think it goes back to this issue that the US is consuming, in fact, more uranium than any other country. There are 94 reactors generating 20% of the power, but effectively 100% of uranium requirements are being imported. It's unbelievable. And for decades, this issue has been ignored. This issue that, hey, maybe we should have a bit more of a domestic industry. Maybe we should have a bit of self ability to supply our needs. And this has really come to a head now. This is an issue where I think both Democrats and Republicans, everyone, bipartisan support for nuclear agrees. We gotta change this. We cannot be dependent on Russia and China for all of our nuclear fuel to power 1 in every 5 home in America. So that's how bad it's become. Our time is really excellent as a company. Our positioning is really excellent because, again, as you point out, we have a vertically integrated supply chain from mine to refining and conversion. This has never been done in the US before. And so to be one of a kind, first of a kind, with large assets and resources, this is the positioning that, again, we've spent the last 2 decades to build. I think it had to be done this way because when I look at the issues in uranium, and in fact, the reason why the uranium price is lagging is there's not enough refining capacity. There's not enough enrichment capacity. So imagine this for a second. We asked for a perfect alignment of all stars for silver and gold, and we got all-time high gold and silver prices, right? We actually have the perfect alignment of stars for uranium right now, but the price is as though gold was at $2,000 right now and silver was at $20. I mean, can you imagine that? If you could have that, would you not take advantage of that, right? Where you had $2,000 gold and $20 silver, and it was the exact same fundamentals that we already have. That's what's going on in uranium, and it will get resolved as more national champions emerge. You saw in the US recently, have you guys heard of a company called MP Materials?
Mhm.
These companies are starting to really get traction in the US with the US government. There's probably 3 companies in the world that can sell uranium to the US. There's frankly 6 companies in the world that mine uranium. There's a real scarcity factor when it comes to having permits, licenses, and the project that we're starting production at next month. We discovered this project in 2010. It's taken 15 years to be able to bring it into production. That's how long it takes to permit these things.
Yep.
To answer your question, I mean, I think it's really well timed. And look, the best part about all of this is we've gotten to where we are, and we'll have a debt-free balance sheet. We're debt-free. We have over $500 million in cash and physical uranium on the balance sheet and no debt. And so you can really see the company's strength is in its finances, in its licenses, in its production, and it's in unique positioning, the scarcity value of being a handful of producers in the world and maybe 2 or 3 in the US that can actually solve this problem in the US, this problem of being completely dependent on foreign imports.
Mhm. Okay. Question to all panelists. Louis, we start with you. Mining is critically important for global economic growth, of course, technological progress, and for supporting infrastructure needed for modern societies. We all know everybody has to renew his infrastructure. What specific benefits do your projects or project bring to the local but also the global community? And maybe if we can hold a little bit short.
No, that's a great question. This is something that we have had the opportunity to go through in the communities in Dominican Republic to explain people that when you're in the room and you look around, basically everything that you see, if it's not grown, is something that was mined for somebody. So mine is an integral component of our way of life. I mean, we wouldn't have the way of life that we have without having mining as being part of it. So having that said, what we see besides that we are a contributor to be able to sustain and develop the society that we have. Our mine, I just take advantage of my colleague here, it's not only gold, it's copper and silver producer. So I'm going to be taking advantage of that. And being a gold and copper, 2 critical minerals, I mean, and silver going forward, our project is going to be a key component to continue to provide the society the minerals that we need in order for us to be able to continue to develop and to achieve the energy transformation that we're going towards to. With regards to the Dominican Republic and into the province where the company is going to be operating in San Juan, we see clearly, and this is something that we explain in our vision to the community and to the government, that this project is going to be a reference going forward in Dominican Republic, that when people in my country talks about mining, about responsible mining, they're going to refer to GoldQuest and to the Romero project, because we're taking in consideration precisely the opinion, the people of the community, try to bring a meaning into the community's life and to operate with them, not against them, in every aspect of our operations. We try and we will strive to be a responsible operator, bring meaning to the community, identify projects together with them that we can develop, and with the profits and the taxation that those profits are going to be taking, is going to be a significant contributor to the province's budget and also to the national government as a whole. So I feel very, very proud and very happy to be part of this story, and it's one of the reasons that keep me motivated to advance this project going forward.
Glenn?
So there's 2 parts to that question.
Yes.
I'll get to the first part. And I'm not going to try to steal your gold thunder, but all silver mines in Mexico have gold. It's just the way it is. So our oxide deposit, which we'll build first, we've talked about, is actually better because it's 2/3 gold and 1/3 silver. The underground deposit is a true silver mine where it's 80% silver and 20% gold. But we're not a one-trick pony. We got a little gold if any gold lovers out there. But let's talk about silver. Look, I talked about the critical, the industrial, the precious. Just look around the room. Look at your phones. When you drive home your car tonight, my friend here on the uranium side, I'm hoping he's building 100 billion nuclear reactors because you advised us there's 3 to 5 million silver equivalent ounces in every one. We make 800 million silver equivalent ounces. That's all we can make. Go look at the history. No matter how hard we try, we can't make anymore. And everything you talk about, everyone talks about, medical, water purification, solar, it all needs it. AI is going to drive silver usage incredibly. No one's even talking about that yet. And we make 800, we need 1.1 or 1.2. But the key fact I told you, think about that. In 2027, there's only going to be 38 silver mines left. That's a fact. That's a reality that no one's thinking about except miners that are trying to replace that. So that's where I am with the metal. It's just couldn't be a better time. Let's talk about Mexico. I said it already. We're a Mexican company that have 2 or 3 people in Canada that raise money and take all of that money and do a foreign investment in Mexico. We've been doing that for 30 years. That's where that money goes, from shareholders like yourselves, from the longest precious metals institutions on the planet. That being said, it's very important to us that in Sonora, where we are, there are 3 or 4 communities. I think about them every day. I want the value that we create when we build this to be a value for those communities, to be value for Northern Sonora, to be value for Mexico. And I think that's what's allowed us to be so successful for 30 years and be on the verge of bringing more foreign investment and building that project in Mexico for the betterment of the Mexican people, which is very important to us, and to do it in an environmentally sustainable way. Those are our 2 calling cards. And, our group, even long before me, has an amazing track record there. Those are the 2 things that have led us to be successful. We consider ourselves a Mexican company.
Okay, thank you. Amir.
What was the question?
Yeah, there was a couple in there, man.
What are you doing for the global community and also specifically for the local ones in the US with your production and your projects?
Excellent question. I'm going to keep the answer short because we have a few 100-page document on our website, which is our sustainability report. And this is now the 4th edition of it. And I'm really proud of the fact that our sustainability report that goes into incredible detail, measuring, it's a science-based sustainability study, measuring water usage, measuring our carbon footprint, measuring our impact in the local communities. All of that, year after year, and now most recent report that we filed, has the highest independent Sustainalytics, ISS, and MSCI score in the entire uranium mining industry, and top 5 percentile in the mining industry. So proud of that, but I'll leave it at that. Go look at that sustainability report, and we get graded really well on it.
Fantastic, thank you. Yeah, Luis, the Romero project contains gold and copper. Those are 2 minerals really sought after. Both metals are wanted, of course, and we are interested to hear about the advantage of being able to produce both.
Yeah, I mean, we have the best of the 2 worlds, and we also have silver as well.
There we go.
That's going to be part of our concentrate. So no, I mean, we are very lucky. I mean, we are a base metal company with a high grade of gold, a low grade of copper, but high grade silver as well. So it's minerals that are going to be part of the energy transition that the society as a whole needs to undertake in order for us to be able to transcend and survive. So we are very, very happy to be that. I mean, as part of a gold producer, we are taking advantage of the economic situation that exists. I mean, and the gold is the most stable and reliable currency that you can have. So we are in the critical minerals area, and we have in the economic area. So we are placed in an ideal position to take advantage and to be able to grow going forward.
Okay. The silver price has not only started to move nicely this year, but I think the silver price is really, moving fantastically. But this is only the beginning, to my understanding. But the gold-silver ratio is still above 80, and probably it will stay there. And maybe when, I don't know, gold is at 10,000, we still have the 80, so maybe a little bit less, but between 150 and 200 and for silver price, which would be fantastic. But can you give us an idea about the importance of silver, the use cases, and maybe the supply-demand situation?
Let's talk about the supply-demand is simple. We talk about the number of mines. Everybody knows we make 800 forever. I can't see us making any more. It's 1.1, it's 1.2 billion. It's just continuing to increase. it's just economics. It's price, it's supply and demand, and it's going to look. I'm not going to get into it. It's nuclear, it's cars, it's solar, it's medical, it's AI, it's weapons, it's in everything, and it's only going to become more needed. And we make 800, and the number of mines are going to close over the next couple of years. The price has to go up. My friend Florian is here. I mean, I can't even understand what he says sometimes. You guys know Florian and the gold and silver price. He talks about teacups and kettles and handles and all of this stuff. And I don't understand it, but he makes a great argument, and he's talked to me about it, that silver could go to $100. I could not even plug that in my sensitivity table because it would be ridiculous how much money we'd make when we build this
Explode.
mine. $50 silver is beyond anything we ever thought we'd mine at. This group I'm with mined at single digits and made money. So yes, it's a wonderful world. We think that investing in this metal can only lead to, I think, for the companies. And last thing I'll say, and I'm being biased, but I'm not being biased. When I'm investing my money now, people have to understand, and I'm not being critical of anyone because we've been there many times in our group in Mexico. When you drill that first hole, you're 10 years from anything. You're 10 years from anything. I think the companies in the silver and gold space that are the developers that are on the verge of either have built their mines or are building their mines in this price environment are going to be the biggest winners. Go look at what some of these assets are trading at. Look in Mexico alone. Small Mexican miners over the last year have been selling for multi-billion US valuations. Some of those companies smaller than what we'll be doing when we have our mine in production. So I think developers, if I'm talking silver, you asked me to tell you where I think the biggest opportunity is. Forget me, but find developers that have track record, that have done it, that have put in the decade now, not starting now. Because if you're just starting now, I don't know where we're in 10 years. He'll probably tell me the silver's going to be $10,000, but I know it's cyclical. The ones that have done the work now, they're going to build the mines in gold and silver or anything in this price environment, I think are going to be the biggest value makers for shareholders. And that's how I'm investing my own money right now.
Yeah, perfect. Amir, we want to take this opportunity to hear your view on the importance of nuclear energy. I think you touched already on that. In a world with ever-growing hunger for energy, which is at the same time desperate to improve the emissions. But let me put also, or let me add spontaneous questions. Can you give us an idea what would be the demand side from the future SMRs, the small modular reactors? Do you guys have already an idea?
Well, I'm on the board of directors of the World Nuclear Association, and we do an annual supply demand model. The latest one just came out in September, and I could tell you, we do not currently forecast for a single pound of demand coming from SMRs, which is really short-sighted because when you think about the capital being allocated right now towards developing SMRs, it's difficult to ignore, and it's difficult to sort of think that there isn't going to be some significant source of demand coming from that. So look, Nuclear Energy Institute in the US pegs the number at around 90 gigawatts coming online with SMRs by 2040. In uranium demand terms, that's about 60 million pounds of demand. Small modular reactor, what does that mean? Current global demand is 200 million pounds. So there's a potential demand coming in the case of 60 million pounds additional that's not in any supply demand models right now and being just really overlooked or discounted. And so it's an interesting area for sure. These small modular reactors can bring so much innovation and so much energy to whether it's remote areas or water desalination, space travel, military applications, you name it. There's and mining. Well, remote areas, mining being remote areas. And so it's a real interesting driver. And we simply didn't have that. The 20 years we've been working together, we would never talk about SMRs with investors. And now it's a real thing with real dollars going in. We have just, for your benefit as a company, we have 2 supply agreements to supply the uranium needs of 2 SMR companies. One of them is TerraPower, which is backed by Bill Gates. He's the chairman of the board. and NVIDIA just made an investment into TerraPower. The other one is Peter Thiel, who's a well-known, also a Silicon Valley-based investor. Peter Thiel's company, Radiance, is another one that we have a supply agreement with. These are real guys. This is real money behind it. And these are the same people that also started companies like SpaceX. And people would say only NASA can fly to the outer space, and then SpaceX was created. Literally, the people that started companies like SpaceX are now running some of these SMR companies.
Fantastic. Yeah, thank you very much, first of all.
Great to have you on stage. That was fun, man.
Now,
A lot of fun.
now we have a little bit time for Q&A.
Thank you.
Are there any questions? Let's start with Amir because he has to rush to the phone call. If there is a question for you, there's one down there. Of course, Pascal. Who else?
So please, Amir, tell us more about the state and the near future of uranium royalty.
I think everyone in the room is familiar with the royalty model. Just a quick show of hand, royalty model. Companies like Franco-Nevada, Wheaton Precious, Royal Gold. That business model is an incredible way of generating wealth. And one company focused on that in the uranium sector did not exist. So we took it upon ourselves in 2017 as entrepreneurs to found a company that would focus exclusively on assembling a portfolio of royalties on uranium companies and projects globally. And that company is now 7 years old. We have royalty exposure on the biggest uranium mines on the planet, like Cigar Lake, McArthur River, all the way down to exploration and development. We also, because we believe uranium today priced in gold, the gold equivalent uranium price is $2,000 an ounce. Oops. That's too low. Because of that, we also own a lot of physical uranium. Our company has been acquiring close to $300 million in physical uranium. So when you invest in uranium royalty, you're getting exposure to the only pure play royalty business model in the uranium sector, portfolio of royalties with the first mover advantage, and over $300 million of physical uranium that provides that extra upside to the commodity price. It's been a fun ride, but at the same time, it's nice to finally have a dedicated uranium company with a royalty business model.
Wonderful. Absolutely.
That's very good.
More questions? Everybody's hungry, huh? Looks like.
Yeah.
Patrick, where are you?
For Amir, because Amir has to go.
Oh.
So my question is about the term market. What do you see? What are the floor and ceilings, and is flexing even possible in the near future?
I think the question is about spot market, term market. They're really converging right now around $80 a pound. And so I think this is an interesting new base that the price is forming. I don't see a big delta between the two. There was a big delta when spot was at 100 and term was at 80, but it's really not going to converge around the same price.
Maybe what's your uranium price prediction for next year?
For next year?
Yeah, 2026. What do you see?
Listen, I think it depends on what happens in the next 60 days. So uranium just got added to the critical minerals list, as you point out. On October 17th, Trump was given a report from Department of Commerce. It's a Section 232 report on uranium. The results are coming out in the next 60 days. The US might decide to introduce quotas or other measures to deal with this national security problem that they have with uranium. This is a big catalyst, and a catalyst that frankly has kept a lot of buyers on the sideline, waiting to see this report come out and waiting to see the results of the study and waiting to see whether uranium gets on the critical minerals list or not. If in the next 60 days, US takes action and introduces quotas or tariffs or any other trade restrictions on China, Russia, on uranium, and look out for that, that's a real development and catalyst, then that might make the difference between whether we have $100 uranium next year, $200 uranium next year. Because remember one thing, if there's one thing you remember from me speaking tonight is the next thing I'm about to tell you. Uranium makes up less than 2% of the operating cost in a nuclear reactor. That's called price and demand inelasticity. So the price of uranium can triple, quadruple from where it is here, and it doesn't make a difference to the bottom line of a nuclear reactor.
Right.
That doesn't exist in natural gas. That doesn't exist in coal.
Oil.
That doesn't include and doesn't exist in any other energy commodity, because uranium is the most energy dense commodity we know of today. 1 pound of uranium can generate the same amount of energy as 100,000 barrels of oil. And so it's this incredible energy density, and that means the price of uranium can really do the imagination stuff, because the bottom line of end user is not impacted by it.
Excellent.
Interesting.
Absolutely. More questions?
That's an
There's one
fact,
down there.
2%. I would never
Patrick?
guess that.
I mean, they should
I get
see
it.
it?
You get the whole thing when you hear that.
Yeah,
That's the key.
that's the
2%.
That's why I said
It's amazing.
So this question is for Silver Tiger.
Oh.
And I met Silver Tiger earlier on outside, and I was absolutely impressed with his dynamism. But my question to you is, Mexico as a jurisdiction, is it centralized? Is it decentralized? Because we're involved in sub-Saharan Africa with all the innuendos that happen there with the governments. So how stable is it, and how mining friendly is it in the region where you're mining?
Well, we've been in Mexico. The group that I am a part of now has been there for 30 years. It is an amazing jurisdiction to do business in. What people forget is a long time ago, it's one of the most mature mining jurisdictions in the world. A dark history. The Spanish went there a long time ago. We've all read about that in our history books. And a lot of the mining that most mines in Mexico are not new discovery. They're under or around the head frame of an old Spanish mine or an American mine that were in operation from about 1910 to 1930. A lot closed with the Great Depression. So this is one of the most mature mining jurisdictions in the world. The regulation, the federal regulation, is equal to Canada, equal to the United States. It's like doing business in the most stable mining jurisdictions on the planet. There's no separation. We actually think it could be. I'm from Canada, so I can say this. We think that the amount of support for mining, drilling, contracting, miners is in Sonora, absolutely the state we're in, Sonora, is far better than anything you would find in Canada. We're very fortunate to do business in Mexico.
Fantastic. Ami, you have to leave. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Take care. And
Pleasure. I'd
if
like
you
to
guys
come to
want to
Canada.
stay,
Thank you. Thank you.